Welcome back to the Coin Lover and Treasure Hunter. Today we're diving into the world of big money coins, and you might be surprised by what we're talking about, the Canadian 1-cent coin. Yes, that small penny you may have seen or even spent years ago could actually be worth a lot of money today. In this video, I'll show you the most valuable Canadian 1-cent coins, explain why they're so rare, and help you learn what to look for if you're checking your own collection. So grab your coins, sit back, and let's discover which Canadian pennies are worth big money. Let's get started. First up, the Canadian 1-cent coin dated 1965 with no mint mark in uncirculated condition, and this episode is designed for deep collectors, new hobbyists, long-time numismatists, and anyone curious about Canadian coin history, value, collecting strategy, and long-term market interest. And this coin represents a fascinating moment in Canadian monetary history because it comes from a time when the penny was still widely used in everyday commerce, and copper-based coins were a normal part of daily life, and the absence of a mint mark is completely standard for circulation coins struck by the Royal Canadian Mint during this era, and many people misunderstand this detail thinking it is rare when in reality it is a normal characteristic, and understanding this helps collectors avoid misinformation and overpaying. And this video will walk slowly and carefully through every aspect of the coin, including history, composition, condition, grading, value, market behavior, storage advice, subscription style, collecting plans, and long-term expectations, and the goal is education, clarity, and enjoyment rather than hype. The 1965 Canadian 1-cent coin was produced during the reign of Queen Elizabeth II and features her portrait on the obverse, designed by Arnold McKim, and this portrait is known for its youthful appearance, clean lines, and dignified simplicity, and on the reverse the iconic maple leaf design created by George Kruger Gray remains one of the most recognizable national symbols in Canadian coinage, and the maple leaf design had already been in use for decades by this point, reinforcing national identity and continuity. And the coin was struck in a bronze composition made primarily of copper with small amounts of tin and zinc, giving it a warm reddish-brown color when uncirculated, and over time exposure causes darkening, but uncirculated examples retain original mint luster, which is a key factor in value. When discussing uncirculated condition, it is important to explain what that truly means, because many coins appear shiny but still show wear, and an uncirculated 1965 cent will show no wear on the high points of the queen portrait or the maple leaf veins, and the surfaces will display original mint luster that moves like light across the coin when tilted, and there should be no smoothing, flatness, or dull patches caused by circulation. And collectors often use grading terms such as mint state, and these are further divided into levels based on strike quality, surface preservation, and eye appeal. And while professional grading can add confidence, it is not always cost-effective for common date pennies like this one unless the coin is exceptionally well struck and preserved. In terms of mintage, the 1965 Canadian cent had a very high production number with hundreds of millions struck to meet everyday demand, and this high mintage means the coin is not rare in a technical sense, and uncirculated examples still exist in large quantities, especially in original bank rolls, mint sets, and long-stored collections, and because of this the value is driven almost entirely by condition rather than scarcity, and a typical uncirculated example may be worth a modest premium over face value, while exceptionally clean high-grade pieces can command higher prices from collectors seeking top-quality examples for registry sets or date runs. Current market value for an uncirculated 1965 Canadian 1 cent without mint mark generally falls into a low range, often equivalent to a small number of Canadian dollars depending on grade, demand, and market timing, and coins with strong red color, full luster, and minimal marks tend to be more desirable, while brown or spotted examples bring less, and prices can fluctuate based on copper interest, collector trends, and overall economic sentiment, and it is important to understand that this coin is not a get-rich-quick item, but rather a stable educational and historical collectible that fits well into long-term collections and beginner portfolios. For collectors interested in a subscription-style approach to collecting Canadian cents, this coin fits perfectly into a year-by-year acquisition plan where one focuses on obtaining the best affordable example of each date and upgrading slowly over time, and a subscription detail approach might involve monthly purchases of individual dates, rolls, mint sets, or graded examples depending on budget and interest. And the 1965 cent often appears in such plans as an easy entry point because it is affordable, widely available, and visually appealing, and this allows collectors to practice grading, storage, and evaluation skills without high financial risk. Storage and preservation are critical even for affordable coins, and an uncirculated 1965 cent should be stored in an inert holder such as a Mylar flip acid-free cardboard holder or capsule to prevent environmental damage, and copper is especially sensitive to humidity and contaminants, so stable temperature, low humidity, and minimal handling are essential, and never clean the coin, as cleaning permanently damages surfaces and reduces value, and education about proper storage is one of the most important lessons for new collectors, and this coin serves as an excellent teaching tool. Historically, the 1965 period represents the final decades of the Canadian penny before rising production costs, inflation, and changing payment habits eventually led to its discontinuation, and understanding this context adds depth to the coin beyond its modest monetary value, and many collectors appreciate these late-date bronze cents as symbols of a disappearing era, and this emotional and historical connection often drives collecting decisions just as much as market value, and for educational channels this makes the coin an excellent storytelling object. From a long-term perspective, the value growth of common-date Canadian cents is expected to be slow and steady rather than dramatic, and demand comes primarily from collectors rather than investors, and this is important to communicate honestly in any subscription or educational content, and realistic expectations build trust and long-term engagement, and while the coin may never become rare, it will always remain relevant as part of Canadian numismatic heritage, and as older generations pass collections down, interest often renews among new collectors. In conclusion, the Canadian 1-cent coin dated 1965 with no mint mark in uncirculated condition is a classic, affordable, historically rich, and educational collectible that rewards knowledge, patience, and appreciation rather than speculation, and it is ideal for collectors building complete date sets, educators creating long-form content, and hobbyists who enjoy the tactile and visual beauty of copper coinage, and if you are watching this as part of a subscription series or long educational journey, this coin represents a solid foundation and a reminder that collecting is about history, learning, and enjoyment as much as it is about value. Next up, the Canadian 1-cent coin dated 1998 without a mint mark in uncirculated condition is a fascinating everyday object that connects history, economics, metal science, and personal memory, and this YouTube script is designed to slowly walk the viewer through everything they could ever want to know about this humble coin while keeping expectations realistic and grounded, because despite many online rumors, this coin is not a rare treasure, yet it still carries educational and collector value, and it represents the end of an era in Canadian money when small change still mattered in daily life, and when millions of these coins moved through pockets, jars, and cash registers across the country, and today an uncirculated example gives us a time capsule view of how the coin looked when it first left the Royal Canadian Mint, fresh, sharp, and untouched by circulation. To understand the 1998 Canadian 1-cent coin, you first need to understand that Canada traditionally did not use mint marks on its circulation coins during that period, so the absence of a mint mark is completely normal and not an error or special variety, and all standard circulation pennies from that year were struck by the Royal Canadian Mint primarily at the Winnipeg facility, even though the mint mark system with the letter symbols came later, and this causes confusion for new collectors who assume that no mint mark means something unusual when in reality it simply means standard issue, and this clarification is important because value is directly tied to rarity and demand, and misunderstanding this point leads to inflated expectations. The design of the 1998 1-cent coin features the iconic maple leaves on a twig, which is a long-standing Canadian symbol representing nature, resilience, and national identity, and this design was created by G. E. Kruger Gray and had been used for decades by the time 1998 arrived, and on the obverse you will find the portrait of Queen Elizabeth II by Dora de Pettery Hunt showing a mature effigy that reflects the era, and the inscription includes the country name and the year and when the coin is uncirculated. These details appear crisp with strong relief, full original luster, and no wear on the high points, which is exactly what collectors look for when evaluating condition. From a metal composition standpoint, the 1998 Canadian penny is made primarily of copper-plated zinc, which was part of a cost-saving transition away from solid bronze, and the coin weighs about 2.35 grams and has a diameter of 19.05 millimeters, and the thin copper plating over a zinc core means that these coins are more vulnerable to environmental damage once circulated, especially corrosion and blistering, but an uncirculated example avoids these problems and preserves the original mint appearance, making it more desirable to collectors who focus on condition rather than rarity. When it comes to mintage, the 1998 Canadian 1-cent coin had a very high production number with hundreds of millions struck to meet everyday commerce needs across Canada, and this massive mintage is the primary reason the coin is not rare, and even today many examples survive in rolls and bags that were set aside by banks, collectors and hoarders, and because of this supply the market value remains low even in uncirculated condition, but that does not mean it is worthless because value can be measured in more than money, including educational use type sets, nostalgia, and long-term collecting enjoyment. In terms of market value as of recent years, a typical uncirculated 1998 Canadian 1-cent coin without mint mark generally sells for only a small premium over face value, often ranging from a few cents to perhaps $1 or $2 depending on eye appeal and grading, and coins that are officially graded by professional services and achieve very high mint state grades may command slightly higher prices, but even then the ceiling is limited due to abundant supply, and this is why sellers advertising extremely high values should be approached with caution and critical thinking. Collectors who subscribe to Coin Magazine's price guides or online numismatic platforms will find that the 1998 penny is usually listed as a common date and is often included in beginner sets or bulk uncirculated rolls, and subscription-based value guides consistently show stable low valuations with little price movement over time, which actually makes the coin a good teaching tool for understanding how mintage and demand affect price and why not every old coin becomes valuable simply because of it. Despite its low monetary value, the 1998 Canadian 1-cent coin holds strong historical and cultural significance because it comes from the final decades of penny production before Canada officially discontinued the 1-cent coin in 2012, and studying this coin allows collectors and viewers to reflect on how economic policy, inflation, and consumer behavior changed over time, and how something once essential eventually became obsolete, and this broader story adds depth and meaning to the coin beyond its small denomination. For YouTube content, this coin is perfect for long-form educational storytelling because it allows the creator to debunk myths, explain grading, demonstrate how to identify uncirculated condition, discuss metal composition, and explore Canadian monetary history, all at a relaxed pace, and viewers who are new to coin collecting benefit from realistic examples like this because it sets healthy expectations and encourages learning rather than speculation, and it also shows that collecting does not have to be expensive to be rewarding. In conclusion, the Canadian 1-cent coin dated 1998 without a mint mark in uncirculated condition is a common yet meaningful piece of Canadiana that offers insight into minting practices, design evolution, material changes, and the psychology of collecting, and while it is not a high-value rarity, it remains a worthwhile coin for collectors, educators, and history enthusiasts, and by understanding its true background and value, collectors can appreciate it for what it is rather than what rumors claim it to be, and that understanding is the real value this small copper-colored coin provides. Next up, the Canadian 1-cent coin dated 2011 without a mint mark is a fascinating piece of modern numismatic history, and it represents the final full year of penny production in Canada before the denomination was officially withdrawn from circulation, which makes it especially meaningful for collectors new and experienced alike. This coin was struck at the Royal Canadian Mint, which traditionally stopped using mint marks on circulation coins decades earlier, so the absence of a mint mark is completely normal and not an error, yet many new collectors find this detail intriguing because it invites deeper research into Canadian minting practices. The 2011 penny continues the familiar design created by G. E. Kruger Gray, featuring the iconic maple leaves on the reverse, which symbolize national identity and natural heritage, while the obverse carries the effigy of Queen Elizabeth II by Susanna Blunt, a portrait known for its clean modern style and lack of crown, which further adds to the contemporary feel of the coin. During its final years of issue, this combination of historical ending and modern design gives the 2011 cent a special place in collections, even though it was produced in large numbers. In uncirculated condition, the 2011 Canadian 1-cent coin is defined by its original mint luster, sharp edges, and absence of wear on the high points of the design. Uncirculated examples were typically obtained directly from mint rolls, bags, or collector sets, and they retain the bright copper-plated zinc appearance that quickly dulls once a coin enters circulation. Collectors value this pristine state because it reflects the coin exactly as it left the mint, and because uncirculated pennies from the final year are often saved as keepsakes. The market has a steady supply, yet demand remains consistent, especially among completionists who aim to assemble full-date runs of Canadian cents from Confederation through the end of the series. Grading standards play an important role here, as even within uncirculated coins there are levels ranging from basic mint state to near-perfect examples with strong eye appeal, clean surfaces, and minimal contact marks. When it comes to value, the 2011 Canadian 1-cent coin without mint mark in uncirculated condition generally carries a modest premium over face value, but it is not considered rare in single coin form. Most examples trade in the range of 1 to 3 Canadian dollars depending on overall quality, luster, and market demand. Coins certified by third-party grading services at higher mint state levels can command more, especially if they show exceptional strike quality or vibrant color. However, because so many were saved, the value remains accessible, making this coin ideal for beginner collectors or those building educational collections. The true value often increases when the coin is part of an original roll sealed by the mint or included in a complete final year set, which appeals strongly to collectors interested in the story of the penny elimination. Understanding why Canada discontinued the 1-cent coin adds depth to appreciating the 2011 issue. Rising production costs, reduced purchasing power, and changes in consumer spending habits all contributed to the decision to end penny circulation. The government announced the withdrawal shortly after 2011, making coins from that year symbolic of an era coming to a close. Even though the coin retains legal tender status, its practical use has faded, which enhances its nostalgic appeal. Many collectors view the 2011 penny as a historical bookmark representing the transition toward cash rounding and more efficient currency systems. This broader economic and cultural context is often what drives long-term interest more than scarcity alone, and it is an important narrative element to include in any extended discussion or video presentation. For collectors interested in subscriptions, there are several ways the 2011 Canadian 1-cent coin fits into ongoing numismatic programs. Coin subscription services offered by dealers or mints often focus on annual sets, historical themes, or denomination-type collections. While the Royal Canadian Mint no longer produces circulation pennies, private subscription services still include them in retrospective collections such as Last of Issue series or Canadian Classics programs. Subscribers may receive graded examples, roll quantities, or curated sets that place the 2011 cent alongside earlier key dates. The subscription approach allows collectors to steadily build knowledge and holdings over time, and it is particularly appealing for educational or long-term investment-minded audiences who prefer structured collecting rather than individual purchases. Storage and preservation are also critical topics when discussing uncirculated 2011 pennies because copper-plated zinc coins are sensitive to environmental factors. Exposure to moisture, air, and oils from handling can quickly lead to spotting, discoloration, or corrosion. Collectors are advised to store these coins in inert holders such as Mylar flips, archival capsules, or original mint packaging, and to keep them in a cool, dry environment. Proper storage does not necessarily increase value, but it preserves the condition, which maintains marketability over time. Discussing these best practices in a long-format video helps viewers understand that collecting is not only about acquisition but also about care and responsibility. From an educational perspective, the 2011 Canadian 1-cent coin serves as an excellent teaching tool. It allows discussion of minting technology, plated coinage, economic policy, design evolution, and public reaction to currency change. Educators and content creators often use this coin to illustrate how everyday objects reflect broader national decisions and values. Because nearly everyone in Canada used pennies at some point, the coin connects personal memory with formal history, which makes it especially effective for engaging storytelling in long-form content. A 50-minute script can comfortably explore interviews, archival photos, and comparisons with pennies from other countries that have ended similar denominations. Market trends for the 2011 penny have remained relatively stable over the years, with gradual appreciation rather than dramatic spikes. This stability makes it a low-risk collectible rather than a speculative investment. Many collectors purchase multiples for sentimental reasons or to give as gifts to younger family members as starter coins. In that sense, the value is not only monetary but also cultural and educational. Discussing this balanced view helps set realistic expectations and builds trust with an audience that may be new to coin collecting or wary of exaggerated claims. For advanced collectors, the appeal of the 2011 cent can extend into die varieties and production nuances. Although major errors are uncommon, minor variations such as plating differences, strike strength, or color tone can add interest. Careful examination under magnification reveals subtle details that casual observers miss, and these details become excellent material for extended discussion and visual close-ups. In a long presentation, they demonstrate how even common coins reward patience and attention, reinforcing the idea that numismatics is as much about observation as it is about ownership. Ultimately, the Canadian 1-cent coin dated 2011 without mint mark in uncirculated condition is best understood as a historically significant yet accessible collectible. Its worth in dollars may be modest, but its value in storytelling, education, and national memory is substantial. For a long-form video script, this coin offers a rich central theme around which economic history, personal nostalgia, collecting practice, and future perspectives can all be woven together, allowing viewers to spend nearly an hour exploring a single small object that represents the end of a long chapter in Canadian monetary history. Thanks for watching.